The lighting is awful, and my shirt is also just as bad. Look at it. It's cool, but it's a very old shirt. There's two gigantic holes right here. I only wear this shirt. I don't even wear it to hoop. I just wear it to go to the gym. Anyways, I want to talk about something that I see on social media a lot that I'm not really a big fan of because I feel like people are kind of disingenuous when it talks about it. I want to talk about the comparison between rap and the NBA. This is such a fun comparison, and I'm a big fan of it, like such a big proponent of talking about like comparing these are like two of my favorite things, right? Like literally, I know you see the sneakers. I'm a sneaker guy, right? I'm also a basketball guy, and I'm a rap guy, right? So I like those three things. But I want to talk about specifically the comparison that I've seen when it comes to Steph Curry. I don't think that Steph Curry has ever been accurately, also LeBron James. I don't think LeBron James has ever been accurately represented. Well, LeBron James definitely has because he's kind of an easy person to compare to. We'll talk about him first, but I don't think that either of those guys have ever been consistently accurately represented in the rap game. Okay. So first we're going to talk about LeBron. I think at this point in LeBron's career, year 23, 2026, I have to say that the best rap comparison for LeBron is Drake. I don't know why that's difficult. Like, obviously, it's not difficult because people, they do their own thing, but that's easy to me. That's very, very, very easy to me. Like, that's not even like I feel like people say J. Cole, and J. Cole is a good one too. But Drake, I think, is the best because Drake, in my opinion, is the definition of a system player. And not a system player the same way that Steph Curry is, because I feel like with Steph Curry, if he's not in that system, it's not really going to work out. LeBron can adapt to different systems, not to discredit the basketball skill of Steph Curry or LeBron James, but LeBron can adapt to different systems. And that is what Drake is excellent at doing. People underrate versatility in rap. I genuinely believe that to be true. And when I talk about versatility, I'm not talking about having different flows because that's easy, right? That's easy. I don't know who the first rapper to do that is, but that's not difficult, right? That's been a thing for a long time. But I feel like Drake, if it's not Drake, it's Kanye, but I feel like Drake is the first rapper to really lean in to being versatile. Like, he's the first rapper, in my opinion, that has gone from successfully from rap to R&B. And this isn't to say that other rappers haven't done it, but if Drake drops an R&B song tomorrow, it's going to be like, it's going to top the charts, right? And he might not rap, R&B might not even be his thing, but it's going to top the charts. And if Drake drops a rap song tomorrow, it's also going to top the charts. Drake is the type of rapper that can make Finesse. Drake is the type of rapper that can make Jaded, but he's the type of rapper that can make Liability, but he's also the type of rapper that can make No Friends in the Industry, Can't Take a Joke, and the same type of rapper that can make Family Matters, which in my opinion is the greatest diss track of all time. That is a conversation for another day, but those are two completely different songs. And I feel like if you were to listen to someone who made a Jaded-esque song, right? Let's say it was an R&B artist that made a song that was just like Jaded by Drake, right? Better than Jaded, actually, by Drake. Would you expect that same artist to be able to make a song like Family Matters? Is that what the song is called, by the way? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, but I should know. I just said it was the greatest diss track of all time. But yeah, I feel like Drake is versatile. And the reason why LeBron is the comparison is because as good as Steph Curry is, he's not the only player that has played all five positions in basketball. That's LeBron. Not only is that LeBron, I believe that that's going to be LeBron for a long time. I know that Giannis technically played some point guard, right? But I don't know if Giannis played shooting guard. He's definitely played power forward. He's definitely played center. He's probably played small forward too. Shooting guard? Not sure. But even if Giannis has played shooting guard, LeBron is the only player that has played all five positions and has played for 23 years. So that means that his playing in five positions is actually meaningful. Now, if Giannis plays 23 years, I'll probably retract that statement. But he hasn't played 23 years. He probably will not play 23 years. But yeah, I think the best comparison for LeBron is Drake. Like the reason why I say it's Drake is because Drake can literally drop like when you think about it, like an album like More Life and an album like Iceman, those are two very different albums from a sonical perspective, from a genre perspective. Those are very different albums, right? But one topped the charts and the other topped the charts. One literally froze the world, and the other one was just as good. Passion Fruit is still a banger to this day. And a song like, oh my God, I don't know the title to Iceman yet, but the song that's like Free, Free, that song is that song's here to stay. Too Hard for the Radio, that song I believe is here to stay. There's a lot of songs, but those songs specifically, I believe, are here to stay. And the thing with LeBron as well, that people kind of underrate is how impressive that versatility is. Like to be listed at every single position. And obviously people say like you build the system around LeBron, right? And it makes you lose. But then you build the system around winning and it makes you win. And it's like, I think the fact that we're even comparing LeBron to winning, even though he's lost so many times in the finals, even though he's allegedly a playoff choker and stuff like that, that's very impressive. And it's the same thing with Drake. Drake might be the soft rapper. Drake might be the rapper that doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know how to do that. Drake's the rapper that has one flow or whatever the case is. But he's still able to top the charts. And guys, that doesn't just happen. Like my favorite thing is when people at the end of the year, and this has been happening for a while, like a long time. I feel like this hasn't been this isn't new. But when it gets to the end of the year and Spotify Wrapped and Apple Music Replay comes out, and people are like, I never listened to Drake. Why is he on my playlist? There's only one way he could get on there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Drake isn't botting his streams. I don't know. I don't even know how that works. I'm going to be honest. But Drake is not botting his streams. Number one, he would lose way too much, right? There's way too much on the line for him to be doing that. And number two, even if he was, for him to end up third on your Spotify Wrapped, that's a lot of botting, bro. That is a lot of botting. Like a lot. A lot. And people could say like, oh, well, you know, Drake writes these songs, so he takes the credit for it. That's still impressive because he's still on your Spotify Wrapped. Like that literally is a feat of his versatility. Guys, that's, in my opinion, Drake is the best rapper in the game. I think when it comes to rap, I don't like to argue who's the best rapper in the game because that's very subjective. But if you were to treat rap like a job and your job was topping the charts, who would be better than Drake? Who would actually and genuinely, don't lie to yourself, be better than Drake? Nobody. And that's the same thing with LeBron. If you treat basketball like it's a job and your job is to put the ball in the basket in order to get wins, play both sides of the ball, be a good playmaker, get your guys involved, right? Obviously that's, I mean, I would say wins. I would say wins, right? I think that that's LeBron. If you want the best shot, and let's be honest, if you want the best shot at winning a basketball game, the guy you want on your team is LeBron. Because he's the only person that can play all five positions and guard all five positions and play with multiple different types of players. Not to say how other NBA players can't do that, but LeBron can do it on a different level. And his IQ is above every single NBA player that has ever existed. So that's why LeBron gets compared to Drake, in my opinion. Next is Steph Curry. I don't think I know off the top of my head who people say for Steph Curry. I feel like I've heard J. Cole. I feel like I've heard, I don't know, Kendrick, Lil Wayne. Maybe I heard Kendrick for like, maybe I heard Kendrick for, I don't know, I don't even know, like Kyrie or something. Kyrie would actually be a good Kendrick comparison, I'm not gonna lie. But the Steph Curry comparison, I'm only looking at their games, I'm not looking at anything off the court. The Steph Curry comparison for me, for rap, is Playboy Cardi. I think that it's Playboy Cardi. If it's not Playboy Cardi, then I'm going Young Thug. And I'm probably gonna err more on the side of Young Thug, but I do like Playboy Cardi. I think that Playboy Cardi is probably more accurate of what he is like right now, right? Because I don't think Playboy Cardi has ever been a rapper that people took seriously. Like, even to this day, no. The same way that Steph Curry wasn't a basketball player to be taken seriously. He was too small, he relies too much on his jump shot, and yet that's literally the most winningest point guard in the history of the NBA. Like, and Steph Curry and LeBron James, in my opinion, are the top two players in the last 2 decades of the NBA. So from the 2010s onward, they are the best players, like Steph Curry and LeBron, because they both won in the 2010s. They both dominated actually in the 2010s. LeBron James more so, of course, but Steph Curry dominated in the 2010s as well. And they also both won championships in this era of NBA parity where we've had 8 different champions in the last 8 years. I think that Playboy Cardi is the comparison for Steph Curry because I do believe that he changed the game. Fully believe that Playboy Cardi changed the game. I feel like the originator to changing the game was Young Thug, because when Young Thug first dropped, that's when we first heard, in my opinion, negativity surrounding rap and negativity surrounding the direction of like where rap is going. That was the first time that I remember hearing that, was when Young Thug came onto the scene. Because Lifestyle dropped and people were unable to decipher the lyrics. But you know what happens when people listen to Lifestyle now? They say, oh wow, my ears have evolved. I can understand what they're saying. And that is crazy. That is crazy that your ears, literally something that you, like most people are like born with, right? Like your ears have evolved. You can understand music in a different way. That is amazing. The fact that Young Thug was able to do that is crazy, right? And I think that Steph Curry is the perfect comparison for Young Thug because that's exactly what he did too. I don't like jump shooting teams. That's a quote from Charles Barkley. Steph Curry's too small, relies on his jump shot too much. That was his college scouting report, or his NBA scouting report after the workouts, right? And yet he's literally transcended the game. Like, he's literally transcended the game. I remember Mark Jackson in 2016, I believe it was, saying that he hates that, you know, young players are coming into the gym and chucking up threes. You're not Steph Curry. The amount of skill that it takes to be a basketball player now, like the fact that stretch bigs exist and you can't just be a back to the basket type of player anymore. Like, if you're a back to the basket big, you will literally be laughed out of the gym. You cannot play basketball if you are not a consistent shooter. I don't think that you can have a lasting NBA career if you're not a consistent shooter in some capacity. You could be a bad one, but you need to be able to shoot. And I feel like that's what separates so many players from being a threat. Back in the day, that was a non-issue. Get your rebounds, get your layups, get your putbacks, get your blocks, right? Let's not do anything. Set the picks. Let's not do anything else. But now, you need to do all of that, and you got to be able to shoot a tiny bit. If you want to, like, center max, we'll call it center max in the NBA, you got to do all of that. And I believe that that's all because of Steph Curry. That's kind of like how I'm going to go back to Playboy Cardi now. Now you can't just be a rapper. It's not enough to just be a rapper, right? You have to be able to rap and kind of sing and kind of come up with your own unique sound, not only with the music and your voice, right? Just like raw, but you need to be able to use auto-tune and you need to be able to use melodies with your voice and not only with the music. That is now a necessity. And you also see a lot of rappers doing that. My friend is a rapper and he just started using auto-tune for his voice, and he's telling me like, wow, this is such a big improvement, right? And I feel like that was pioneered more so by Young Thug. I'm a little like, back and forth between Young Thug and Steph Curry, or Young Thug and Playboy Cardi for Steph Curry. But I do think that the game has been changed for, like, both of those rappers changed the game. Young Thug changed it because now he's singing and he's mumbling, and now it's not even like he changed the game so much so that rap doesn't even necessarily have to be about the literal rhythm and poetry that it stands for. Rap can just be about songs, or like singing and dancing and stuff like that. Future would be a good pick too. But I don't think Future really changed the game the same way that, like, because I feel like some old heads still like Future. The old heads hated at least Young Thug, Lil Uzi, Playboy Cardi. I'm thinking about that type of rapper. The rapper, I just don't know who would be the best example. I'm trying to think of who changed the game more, but I don't know. I feel like Young Thug was the originator, but Playboy Cardi is currently changing the game with this YVL vamp type of lifestyle that you kind of have to lead if you want to be part of the Opium Collective. And someone like Big Booty Blaze, who's glazing, Playboy Cardi so much so, right? Like, I feel like Young Thug never really had that type of fan base. Although Big Booty Blaze, I mean, I don't want to say obviously, but it kind of is obvious. He obviously is putting on an act. I do believe that Big Booty Blaze is, I don't want to call him that. I don't want to call him that. I don't want to keep saying Big Booty Blaze, but Big Booty Blaze is still, I'm sorry, it's getting hard to say that without laughing, but Big Booty Blaze is still a basketball player, or sorry, now I'm losing my train of thought. He's still someone that glazes Playboy Cardi. And he does it in a way where he's not ashamed to do it. And I feel like that's what's different. Obviously, rappers get glazed. 50 Cent got glazed. Future got glazed. I'm sure Young Thug gets glazed. I'm sure NBA Youngboy gets glazed, like, hard, right? But to glaze the same way that Big Booty Blaze is glazing you, say that 10 times fast, is crazy. That is insane. I think I think that Playboy Cardi is the best comparison for Steph Curry. I think Playboy Cardi is the best comparison for Steph Curry. I think that he yeah, I just think he transcended the game, to be honest. Like, Playboy Cardi changed he changed it. He changed the game. And now people are, like, so open about, like, how much glaze they have for, I mean, not just rappers, but him specifically. And I feel like that can kind of be compared to Steph Curry's glaze. We'll go glaze in quotes, because his, wait, I just thought of something else. His glaze was like the young kids, Mark Jackson, right? Going into the gym and shooting deep threes, like, you're not Steph Curry, whatever, right? And also, I'm going to err more so on the side of Ken Carson, just because I feel like that's a bit more of a relevant example, because, not Ken Carson, Playboy Cardi I meant, because Playboy Cardi went dark with his music, right? He went Vamp Anthem, he went, and I remember, and what was the name of that? What was the name of that album with Vamp Anthem? I See Red? I don't know. I don't know Playboy Cardi titles. Let me look it up. Hold on. Whole Lotta Red. I am a big fan. Just kidding. I wasn't a big fan. That's actually what I was talking about. I'm not a big fan of that album. I hated that album. I was not a fan. And I think that that's a little poetic, because Whole Lotta Red, I do believe it did transcend the game. Like, Whole Lotta Red actually did transcend the game. Like, because when Whole Lotta Red dropped, I did not see a single person who liked that album. Literally no one. No, there was one person. But one person, every single person who listened to the album was not a fan. And if I'm not mistaken, that album came after a drought, right? He didn't release an album for a while, and then he releases that. And I feel like now that brought about the Ken Carsons, the Destroy Lonelys, the Summers. I'm not really like a big opium guy. I'll be honest. I'm a rap fan, but I listen to Ken Carson. I don't listen to Destroy Lonely or anyone else in that collective. But maybe I should give that a try. Maybe that can be an episode. But I really do feel like that is the comparison for Steph Curry, and it's honestly not even close. And I feel like when it comes to rap and when it comes to basketball, those things are actually kind of difficult to compare because you have to compare things like kind of off the court. But I feel like you have to like the equivalent rap comparison. Let's take what I said with Drake for example, right? With Drake, his rap comparison, like the comparison itself to LeBron James, like the things that I used would be like LeBron's interaction with his fans, right? Because it's Drake's interactions with his fans. Does that make sense? Like I said that Drake consistently tops the charts. That's his interactions with his fans. LeBron doesn't really interact with his fans when he's on the court, but he shouldn't. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's it is a bit of a difficult comparison, but I feel like I'm pretty spot on with those. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I see people talk about Steph Curry is comparable to like J. Cole or Steph Curry is comparable to no, Steph Curry is comparable to a new age rapper because he is a new age basketball player, the person who defined the era. And that's why I say Young Thug, but I'm also torn between Young Thug and Playboy Cardi because I do feel like Playboy Cardi, because if I'm not mistaken, Whole Lotta Red did release in 2020. And 2020, obviously, that's a new decade, marks a new decade. And I just like, I just think that that album is so, it really did define a new era of rap. We didn't know it at the time. Same thing with Steph Curry. When he started taking those deep threes, we did not know it at the time that he was going to be a guy. When Steph Curry was being put in that elevator play and running up the court in between those two screens and shooting the threes, I didn't think he was going to be a two-time MVP, greatest point guard of all time, right? But he is. And I think that that's very impressive. Same thing with Playboy Cardi. I did not think that he was going to change the game. Did not think that he was going to change the game because of Whole Lotta Red, but he did. And I feel like that's a little more comparable. Now I'm going to list some more rappers. I'm going to talk about Kendrick Lamar next. Kendrick Lamar to me is comparable to De'Aaron Fox. No, I'm kidding. Kendrick Lamar to me, I said Kyrie earlier. I feel like it's the craft, right? Like I feel like it genuinely is the craft that sets those guys apart. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan, rap fan, but I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan. I'm not gonna talk about the Drake diss. I have my own, reservations about that. Obviously, you can kind of guess where I'm leaning towards, but Kendrick Lamar, I'm a big fan of his because I think that he has the best like pen, and he has the RAP down. He has the rhythm and poetry down is what I meant. But that's Kendrick Lamar. That is his bag. Same goes with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, I believe is, I'll say a big part of the reason why he's in the conversations that he's in is because of his handle, which is, in my opinion, unprecedented. Like that is it, that is a handle. And also the finishing, unprecedented. Like I think Kyrie Irving has the best layup package in NBA history. That should not be a hot take. Like it's not even close. Jordan is a close contender, but it is Kyrie by a country mile. Like it's Kyrie by a country mile. Nobody has that layup package. That is the best layup package in NBA history. And that is the best handle in NBA history. But it's like, okay, is that all he is, a slasher? Nope. He can shoot. He can get you in the post. He can do middies. I feel like Kyrie is a 5-level scorer. Inside, midi, three-pointer, post, and isolation. Of course, he has 4 of those down. Everything aside from the post. And I feel like with Kendrick Lamar, it's kind of the same thing. Like he can rap on any beat. And he can make it memorable. And he can use different type of like literary devices and all sorts of things like that. And I just think that Kendrick Lamar is the best in the game at his craft. I feel like he is known for his craft. Same goes for J. Cole, but I do kind of feel like J. Cole might be a little comparable to to Curry a little bit more. I'll actually say J. Cole's a little more comparable to Dame because Dame, in my opinion, is a Curry level threat. I feel like Dame and Curry, skill wise, are the same player. Obviously, accolades wise, it's not even Curry by a mile. I mean, it is Curry by a mile, but I feel like Dame's a little more comparable to J. Cole because with J. Cole, yes, he raps and he raps well and he tops the charts and he has the capability to release good music. Like J. Cole is, I think, a perfect mix between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. If you're a real rap fan, I feel like you'll appreciate J. Cole. Like, not real rap in a derogatory way, but if you appreciate rap, I feel like you'll appreciate J. Cole. And I feel like with Kendrick, with Dame, that's kind of what it is. With Dame, if you are a real basketball fan, you'll appreciate Damian Lillard, like for sure. Like I think that Damian Lillard is like one of those guys, maybe Chris Paul even, like, but I feel like Damian Lillard is one of those guys that's like kind of disrespected in terms of his skill. I remember I used to I had a basketball TikTok and I asked people on that TikTok if they thought that Steph Curry or Damian Lillard was the Steph Curry or Damian Lillard was the better shooter, and people were saying that it's Steph Curry. And I was like definitively Steph Curry. Like, you're crazy for even asking that question. Is that a crazy question? Is that a crazy question? I think that that's a very reasonable question. Damian Lillard is one hell of a shooter. And I understand Steph Curry is probably better. He's probably more consistent. But I believe that that's attributed to a system. I feel like if you put Steph Curry, you replace Steph Curry with Dame, at least only in the regular season, right? If you replace Steph Curry with Dame, you get the same results. You do. Dame does become a 2-time MVP. He does become a 4-time champion with 1 Finals MVP. I can definitely see that happening. But actually, I think that Dame, obviously, if we're gonna take it to the business side of the NBA, I think that Dame actually does better than Steph Curry because he's from Oakland, right? I think he does better, truthfully. But that's a whole other conversation. But also, he's big on loyalty, and I feel like that seems to be J. Cole's brand. He has stuck to the humility thing for a long time. It's actually really annoying because I think that J. Cole had oh my God, this is a conversation for another day. But one thing that I always say about J. Cole is that he absolutely had the ability to be the greatest rapper of all time, Tupac level. Like, J. Cole could have been better than Drake. J. Cole could have been better than Kendrick. J. Cole could have been better, Tupac level, a legend in the game. He had the capability to do that. But then something happened. Oh, I know what happened. I don't want to say that. You're gonna have to come back for it. But yeah, big fan of those guys. All three of those guys, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. I think a hard player to compare NBA wise. Actually who Curry could be compared to again is Kanye West. I feel like that's a great comparison because Kanye West is the game changer. Travis Scott is also another good, not for Curry, but that's another good rapper to compare. I think that for Kanye West, the best, I don't know if there is one for Kanye West, I can't lie. Kanye West, I want to say Kevin Durant, but I don't think that Kanye West is any one player. I think that Kanye West would be like Michael Jordan. I would say that he's more like Michael Jordan. I would say he's like Magic Johnson because the influence that man has is crazy. Everything he touches is gold. He's a visionary. And I just think that like he is phenomenal. Like, he's done things. He said things, right? But if any other rapper said things like that, they're not gonna drop an album and people are gonna care. Like, no one was a fan of Bully. No one was a fan of Donda 2. No one was a fan of either of the Vultures albums. No one was a fan of any of those things. 4 albums, and I don't think that people would say that like Vultures One, although I believe that is a classic. I don't think anyone would say that. But the fact that you even have an album that is in contention of being a classic and you did that is crazy. Kind of the same way that Michael Jordan said that not Republicans buy sneakers too, and people never bring that up, right? But if LeBron said something like that, now that would be very interesting. I remember LeBron got interviewed and they asked him about Israel, and he was like, I've never been there. It seems like a beautiful place. And people were like, he can't be the GOAT anymore. He can't be the GOAT anymore just because he said that. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else would have had that same reaction with other people. I feel like that's, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. It's political. I'm not going to get into politics right now. I specifically wanted to make this video so I can compare basketball players to rappers. But yeah, I did believe that was ridiculous. Let me just go ahead and say that. When it comes to Kanye, I do think it's Jordan. Jordan definitely had the most influence. Definitely, I don't even believe that to be close, actually. I don't even know how I struggled with that. I think Jordan definitely had the most influence in basketball history. In the NBA, not even close. Okay, next rapper that I said was who? Travis Scott? Travis Scott, I think, is a tough one. But if I was to give Travis Scott if I was to give him like a player comparison, I'm gonna go with Giannis. Here's my reasoning for why. Obviously, with Travis Scott, people don't realize this. I don't know if people talk about this, but I feel like at one point, this was like pre-COVID. I don't know if this is the case anymore. Maybe because of what happened at Astroworld, but Travis Scott at one point had, I believe, Kanye level influence. I think if I don't know. Kanye level influence is a bit hard to match, but it looked like he was headed that way. When Astroworld dropped, I vividly remember this. There was a question asking teenagers, like late teens, 18 to 25-year-old boys, who is the most influential rapper in the game right now? And it was between Kanye West and Travis Scott. And you know what? Travis Scott got that top spot, but he didn't hold on to that top spot. Kanye West has. And that's why I go Kanye West is compared to Jordan. I don't think that LeBron has that much influence, although I do think he is my GOAT. I don't think he has that much influence. Not the same influence that Jordan did. That's crazy. People like, I feel like when we talk about sports, there's especially with men, like there's a bit of an aura, so to speak, where men will say like, you're a grown man supporting this. You're a grown man talking about, like you're wearing a man's jersey on your back or whatever the case is. I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Why did I say that? I think that like when it comes to, oh my God, yeah, when it comes to Jordan, yeah, no one cares. Like nobody cares about that. No one cares that like why are we calling this man Black Jesus? Why are we doing that? Why are we calling him His Airness? I understand King James. King James is kind of crazy, but that was a name that he gave himself. Black Mamba, that was a name that Kobe also gave himself, right? Chosen One, that's a name that Bron gave himself. Nobody, Jordan did not come up with Black Cat. He didn't come up with Black Jesus. He didn't come up with his Airness, Air Jordan. Like, that's crazy. That's just insane. That is influence. Like, that's influence. And I feel like with Travis Scott, that's as close as you're getting is Giannis. Like, I think that with Giannis, Giannis at one point, I mean, he's still. I feel like we've seen the best of Giannis. Not to take away from his game. I'm a big Giannis fan. I love Giannis. I think Giannis is he's I would even put him in the top 10 right now, to be honest. But that's kind of crazy, to be honest. Haha. But I think that when it comes to Giannis, that's the best comparison that you can give him is Travis Scott, because Travis Scott had so much influence. Again, Kanye level influence. Like the shoes were going crazy, the clothes were going crazy, everything was going crazy. Travis Scott released Jordan 33s. Like, I'm a sneaker guy, and obviously, like, since I'm a sneaker guy, I know that a Jordan 33 is a crazy release. That's an insane release, or an insane sneaker to drop. But he did it. He actually did release Jordan 33s. Jordan 33s, Jordan 33s are like, do you even know what Jordan 33s are? Do you even know what those look like? Those aren't even one of the nicer, like, remastered Jordans. And he dropped those. And they were going for like $600-700. That's insane. Like, that's insane. I think that, like, with Giannis, he was definitely getting like the Greek freak. He was very marketable at one point. He was like he was on a serious come up. People were saying like, "Oh, this guy's going to be the future MVP of the league one day. He's the most improved player. Like, this guy's such a hard worker, yada 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 yada." All these positive things that Giannis would. And then the thing is with Giannis is that he actually went out and did those things. If I'm not mistaken, he has 2 MVPs. He has, if I'm not mistaken, the highest regular season PER in the NBA, which is crazy. That's insane. Or I think he had it at one point, but no one else has come close. But yeah, he won the chip, right? He dropped 50 in that elimination game. You don't really get much better than Giannis, in my opinion, right? When it comes to um players and player development and things like that. Anyways, um with with regards to, I said Travis Scott, I said Kanye, I said Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, Travis Scott, and Kanye. Those were the 5 rappers that I said that I was going to list. But I feel like when you compare these two, obviously you can't really do it because their careers are so different, right? But like, in terms of the objective of their careers, so different. The objective, or the way that fans perceive them, so different, right? Like basketball players versus rappers. But I think that when it comes to basketball and rap, if you want to compare people who work in both of those fields, what you need to do is look at the perception of the fans, right? That's why I was so quick to say that Kanye's, and let's talk about Kanye briefly, right? Because the worst thing that happened to Kanye, this isn't even bad. Like, obviously he said that stuff, and then his shoes were going for like $20 at one point, right? But they were still flying off the shelves. Couldn't find anything bigger than a size 4. Like, that's insane. And I think that Kanye's shoes now are like, they're pretty cheap. You can get them for pretty cheap. But that took so long. Like, when did he release those shoes, guys? We're coming up on 10 years. Anyways, I think like the same thing is happening to Jordan. Like, his shoes are still trendy. They're still making new Jordans of 41s. Jordan 41s are set to drop this year. So, like, that's insane. A Jordan 41. I literally have my Jordan 29s. And there's Jordan 41s. Crazy. Anyways, yeah, I think what you have to compare is the perception of the fans. I feel like that's what would make for a accurate. You can't really compare the craft itself. Obviously, I do believe that I did that with Steph Curry a little bit, but I think that when it comes to or when it came to Kyrie and Kendrick, I thought that that was like 1-to-1. I thought that that was an amazing, phenomenal um comparison. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. hope you enjoyed. And bye.